is to talk about the two program options in Madrid and learn a little bit more about them in depth and think about which program might be a better fit for you based on that. Okay, so to kind of get started, my name is Sarah. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the International Programs Advisor for the Madrid programs in IPE. And yeah, I talk about Madrid all day long, so I'm really excited to chat with you all about these programs. So in IPE, in the College of Engineering, we have two program options in Madrid. So both of these are excellent schools. Both of them have their strengths, and it's really about considering which is the right fit for you in terms of cost, in terms of like school, in terms of academics. So for our programs in Madrid, the first program is at the University Pontificia Comillas, which we just usually refer to as Comillas. This is a smaller private university that was founded in 1890, so it was founded quite a while ago, and it's got around 11,000 students currently completing their degrees at Comillas, and it's located near the Madrid city center. And so it has a great location. Students usually find it that they're able to walk to class from their housing, which is great. In terms of the engineering focus at Comillas, they have their focus really is on industrial technologies, telecommunication, and artificial intelligence. So they have a smaller program specifically for study abroad students that allows you to maybe take a few courses outside of those areas. But as an engineering school, that is their focus. So historically, they've been considered a great option for our IOE students here at Michigan. Carlos III is our second program option in Madrid. So we sometimes refer to it as UC3M. But this is a public university that was founded in 1989. So a much more recent university in Madrid, but also an excellent university. They have around 24,000 students on their campus, and they actually have 3 campuses that are located in the Madrid metro area. And students on this program can take classes at 2 of those campuses. One is called Leganes, which is where their engineering campus is, and the other is Getafe, which you can do usually like social sciences, humanities courses at that campus. So you can take courses at both of those. They're not located quite as centrally as Comillas is, but usually, you take the metro to class in the morning, you can kind of build that routine in to your schedule pretty easily. So even though it's not quite smack dab of the city center like Comillas is, it's still, I think, a great option for students. And it also has, it's a much larger campus, so it just has a much wider range of engineering degree options. So they have around 15 different engineering degree programs at Comillas, not at Comillas, at UC3M, which are offered in a mix of English and Spanish. So some of their degree programs are entirely offered in English, and the rest usually are a mix of some Spanish courses and some English courses in those degree programs. So which program is right for you? So these programs, like I said, both have their strengths, and I think both have like things to keep in mind and things to consider as well. So Comillas, which is the smaller university, the private university in the center of Madrid, this program is a direct exchange program. So that means that U of M students can pay U of M tuition and study abroad at Comillas, while Comillas students can pay Comillas tuition and study abroad at U of M. So it's a direct exchange, it's a tuition-based exchange. And so because of that, IPE will charge U of M tuition for this program. So there shouldn't be any change in the amount that you're paying for tuition to study abroad at Comillas. So important to keep in mind for in-state versus out-of-state students, because you'll pay the same amount. You'll pay in-state tuition if you're in-state and out-of-state tuition if you're out-of-state, just like you normally would during a semester at U of M. And then, of course, the cost of housing is not included in that. So you're just paying U of M tuition. And so the housing that you'll live in on the program, the cost of that housing is not included in tuition. So it's in the cost of tuition. So it's another factor to keep in mind when thinking about the cost of this program. This is quite different from the cost at UC3M. So For this program, IPE charges a flat program fee. And the reason that we are able to do that is because we partner with a program provider, CEA Kappa. This is not an exchange, so there's no agreement that's allowing U of M students to study at UC3M and pay U of M tuition while they're doing it. So instead, you have to pay UC3M tuition. And so that gets factored into the program fee that IPE charges. IPE will charge this flat program fee that includes both UC3M tuition as well as the cost of housing, which is provided on the program. So housing is something that's handled differently on each program as well. So at Comillas, housing is not provided by the program because Comillas, as a university, they don't offer on-campus housing to their students. Any student who studies at Comillas, Spanish students, US students, other European students studying abroad at Comillas, all find their own housing in Madrid as students at UC3M. So U of M students on this program are also responsible for finding their housing in Madrid. We've had many students study abroad at Comillas before. It's been a long-standing partner of IPE. So there are quite a few recommendations and resources that past students have shared. So there are good resources out there, but it's important to keep in mind that you'll have to have that independence to find your own housing for this program in Madrid. On the other hand, Carlos III, or UC3M, housing is provided by CEA Kappa, which is our program provider for this program. So students will live in apartments or student residences that are affiliated with CEA Kappa, and that is provided to students. So you will not be searching for your own housing. You'll just be assigned to housing as part of this program. And then academics-wise, so this is another really important key factor to think about, of course, when planning a semester abroad as an engineer. But based on your major, Comillas or UC3M might be a better fit just based on the courses that are offered or the types of program or degree offerings that they have. So we'll talk about this a bit more throughout the presentation, but one program or another may be a better fit just purely based on academic offerings. And then important to note that at Comillas, it's possible your courses may end by late April, although the majority of courses will go towards late May, whereas at Carlos III, courses will end by early June. So the end date is a little bit different from U of M. That's something to keep in mind too. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about each of the programs now. So we'll start with Comillas. So when looking at Comillas, the program dates for 2025 haven't been set yet. But typically each year, this program runs from early January to late May. Students will pay U of M tuition on the program. We also thought it was worth mentioning that the cost of tuition for the program doesn't include everything. So IPE has created a budget sheet where we list total estimated costs for the program, including not only the cost of tuition, but also the cost of housing, the cost of buying your airline tickets, the cost of meals while in the program. So this budget sheet can be found on mCompass, but it's a really great tool to check out as well. For eligibility for the program, we're looking for students when they apply to have a 3.0 GPA. They should be at least a sophomore during the semester that they're studying abroad, which means having completed at least 2 semesters at Michigan. And Comillas is only, as an exchange program, it is only open to College of Engineering or LSACS and data science students, and is not open to the campus at large, but is meant to serve our College of Engineering students. And then finally, we're looking for a valid passport by the time you submit your application. As I mentioned, housing, students will obtain their own housing on the program. A visa is required for US citizens studying abroad on this program, and the application deadline is September 5th, 2024. So it's the second week of classes this coming academic year. And then finally, I also wanted to note, so some historic participation for this program. It's been very popular with IOE students. We have sent a number of mechanical and BME students on this program as well. And then every year we have students from other majors who also go on this program. So even though it is maybe a bit more popular with IOE, if you're not IOE, this program could still work for you. It's just a matter of how your courses fit in. So I did go ahead and list some examples of courses that are offered at Comillas and that our students have taken. If you'll note on the screen, so the U of M or COE does have a international course equivalency database. So I've listed a good amount of courses on the screen, but to find a full list of all of the courses that are approved and that are offered on the program, it's important to check out the College of Engineering's entire course equivalency database. These ones that I have listed on the screen for the purposes of this presentation are ones that have been very popular with students in the past. So we do have some CEE courses. We have one EECS course that's generally been very popular, a good number of IOE courses that are available on the program. And then we also have Math Sci 220, some math and stats courses, and then various mechanical engineering courses on this program as well. And then kind of to sum up Comillas and what I consider to be some of Comillas' strengths as a study abroad location and as a just as a campus. So this is a program where you're getting a smaller sized school, you're having smaller classes. So I think it's usually students mention that they enjoy connecting with their professors, enjoy connecting with other students on this program. So smaller sizes. And then Comillas as an engineering school offers I think an excellent program called the Sapiens program. This program is one that is designed and built for study abroad students who want to take engineering courses in English at Comillas. So it's a special list of courses that are kind of reserved for study abroad students. These courses provide priority registration to study abroad students, and they also end by the end of April. So they try to follow the US academic calendar to allow students to get home a bit earlier than if you were to only take courses from the regular Comillas course catalog. So this program, I think, is a really unique opportunity at Comillas. So I think it's one to check out if you're interested in studying abroad at Comillas. And then finally, if you're looking at courses for IOE students, then Comillas is a great university that tends to fit well with some of U of M's IOE requirements. All right, and then we can take a closer look at Carlos III. So Carlos III, program dates, again, are still being set, but typically they run from mid-January to early June. The program fee, which includes both tuition and housing, last year was around $19,000. We're expecting like a slight increase in cost for 2025, but should be somewhere in that ballpark. So that includes tuition and housing. And of course, like I mentioned before, there is a budget sheet where we go over not only the program fee, but also other additional costs associated, such as airfare and meals on the program. The program provider for Carlos III is CEA Kappa. So they're a third-party study abroad organization that liaises with University of Michigan and the University Carlos III in Madrid to help our students get set up, registered, secure their housing in Madrid. So they're a great resource, and we partner with them at Carlos III. In terms of application eligibility, we're looking for this program for students to have a 2.5 GPA, again, to be at least a sophomore. This program is open to all U of M Ann Arbor undergraduates, not only College of Engineering students. And then again, we want students to have a valid passport by the time they submit their application. Housing on this program is included, so students will live in apartments or residencias throughout the city. Visas are required for US citizens, and then the application deadline is September 5th. And then I mentioned, again, historical participation. So this program tends to attract mechanical engineering students. It also attracts IOE students. So I think it's also good for IOE. We've sent aerospace students, BME students on this program, and then a range of other students from other majors as well. So examples of courses that are offered at Carlos III, again, we encourage students to check out the entire course equivalency database, but these are some courses that have been popular or seem to fit well with certain majors. So we have some aerospace courses available on the program, as well as biomedical engineering courses. There are a range of EECS courses and computer science courses available at Carlos III, as well as a couple of IOE 400 level courses, MatSci 220, again, a good amount of mechanical engineering courses, as well as a bunch of other courses, including statistics, numerical methods, a range of other options around business, economics, world politics. So UC3M has a huge campus. There's a lot of course offerings, even outside of engineering, if you're interested. And then Carlos III's strengths. So for this program, I think one of the strengths is as a larger campus with more degree options, they just have a wider range of engineering course options. So this program might be a better fit in general for like many of U of M's majors or degree programs that we have here might be a better fit for a wider range of those. Housing is included in the cost of the program, and it is provided by the program, which I think is nice because it takes some of that stress off of having to find your own housing. And this program may be less expensive than U of M for out-of-state students. So it's a good program option to keep in mind. And then just generally, so we've talked a little bit about courses on each of the programs, but I wanted to mention some good general tips about how to find courses while you're abroad. So as I mentioned throughout the presentation, it's a good idea to first check out the U of M International Course Equivalencies database, because this database will list all of the courses that have been approved or students have attempted to get them approved for transfer from our partner institutions abroad. So you can see what courses are already approved. And then after checking out the course equivalencies database, we really encourage students to check out the course catalog for the host institution that they want to study abroad at to confirm that the courses that you're interested in taking that are approved for transfer at U of M, go in and confirm that those courses are offered or have been offered recently in the term that you're trying to go abroad, and make sure that if you're trying to go abroad in the winter term, that those courses are listed in UC3M or Comillas' catalog as being offered during the winter semester. And then you're always welcome to browse other course options in the host institution's course catalog, just because it hasn't been taken before by a U of M student or hasn't been approved before or isn't yet in the course equivalency database as approved for transfer doesn't mean that it can't be. So you're welcome to submit a transfer credit approval form if you would like to get new courses approved for transfer. This can take a couple of weeks, so it's good to do over the summer before you apply. And then once you have your TCAF results, or really any time throughout the process, we really encourage students to check in with their academic advisor to confirm that the courses that you're planning to take are going to keep you on track to finish your degree on time. And then finally, we really encourage students to select twice as many courses as you need to take abroad. When kind of at this early stage, when you're building your course plan, just in case later on down the road, when course timetables become available, you might see your preferred courses are not offered or have conflicting times. So it's good to like cast your net widely at this point and select a lot of different courses you might be interested in taking. Make sure that you're paying attention to prerequisites at your host institution, and make sure that you are taking the equivalent of at least 12 US credits while you're abroad, because that's a requirement from IPE. And it's also, if you're planning to use financial aid, a requirement in order to be eligible for financial aid for the program. And so we've talked a lot about academics at both of these institutions. So I wanted to mention briefly about student life in Madrid and living in Madrid as a student. So there are a lot of ways to get involved. We encourage students to join local clubs and sports. There are clubs on each of these campuses that you can get involved with as study abroad students. Madrid has a great history or a great culture around language intercambio. So if you're interested in learning Spanish while you're there, they oftentimes have events in different bars and organizations around Madrid where you can go and meet other students, usually Spanish students who are interested in learning English, and then together you can practice your languages. So that's a great way to get involved in the city. You can definitely take study abroad as an opportunity to explore an interest, get into cooking, start following local sports, learn a language, take advantage of Madrid's many museums, learn about history, dance, etc. And then I know a lot of students are very interested in personal travel while they're studying abroad. So Madrid has a great network of high velocity trains, a great network of buses that can take you all around Spain on your weekends or on your spring break, so you can explore the rest of Spain. But the Madrid airport also has hundreds of flights kind of coming in and out every day. So Madrid is very well connected to the rest of Europe if you're interested in personal travel as well. And then finally, the last thing to mention is just about preparing your application. So IPE offers a planning a semester abroad checklist that is great to check out to kind of run through and make sure you're thinking about study abroad from all of the different angles. We encourage everyone to be checking their passport validity. It's required that your passport is valid for at least 1 year after your anticipated return to the US after the program. So if your passport may be expiring soon, we recommend that you, over the summer, get it renewed so that you are able to submit your application September 5th. Review the IPE budget sheet. And if you're thinking about using financial aid, make sure to fill out the study abroad financial aid estimate worksheet to see how much financial aid you can receive for the program. And then, of course, we encourage you all to meet with an IPE advisor to talk about study abroad before submitting your application before September 5th when the application is due. And that is everything that I have for this presentation. Thanks for your attention and for being interested in learning more about Madrid. We do have a couple of resources on the screen. You can obviously follow IPE on Instagram. You can check out past student experiences on our student blogs. I've tried to utilize pictures from the student blogs throughout the presentation. And then we encourage you to join our newsletter so you can get updates about new opportunities, new study abroad locations, deadlines, important dates, etc. I will stop the recording here, and then if we have any questions,